This is for the person who has tried every self help hack, soft life glow up, every retreat, and workout or wellness routine, but struggle with the same issues. And you feel as though you are not moving in your job, you're not moving in your relationship, you're not moving in your money, and you feel stuck. You're starting to wonder if the very thing that you decided that you put on your vision board was just a blimp. Is it actually going to happen? In today's video, I'm so excited to bring to you. I'm going to share with you the most critical component that you need for personal and sustainable transformation. It may not be what you think it is. So, whether you're reading your first self help book, like I said, whether you went to a retreat, um, or you started to join different communities, I'm going to share with you what I believe is the absolute most critical component to self help and sustainable transformation. As I look back in the rearview mirror of my own personal transformations, I've gone from leaving a 9 to 5 and deciding that I was going to start my own business. And within the first 30 days, I made $1,000. Or deciding that I was going to leave a long term relationship because I didn't want infidelity to be a part of my story, even though I wanted to be married by 30. And I look back, I'm like, what was the thing that allowed me to really make these big, bold shifts? And the biggest thing was identity and who I thought I was. Literally knowing who I am and continuing to be refined in my identity has changed everything. It has changed my life. It has changed how I view money, how I view relationships, how I view my job, how I view my business, how I view my family, how I see myself, even enough that I'm going to go here live on YouTube for the first time and deciding that it was okay and enough to do. So, I'm going to share with you 3 mistakes that you are making in your own personal journey. The first mistake that you're making is that you're expecting a leap instead of understanding that God works in layers. You're expecting a leap instead of understanding that God works in layers. You're frustrated because you can't see your growth, even though you're doing all of the things to change. You've trained your measure of success to be around visibility, your own growth, around anything that you feel that you can do in your own strength. It's like going to the gym and expecting that after the first couple of workouts, you just see your result. You're like, where's my abs? Where's the weight loss? Where's my Sierra legs? You can't do that immediately. You need to put in the effort consistently. And so think about it like this. Does the data of what you've been doing, does it match your actual story? Does the data of what you are collecting? So for example, if you have one, are you even checking your data? Are you even checking to see if the things that you are doing, if it's collecting? So you miss the incremental strides. And what I mean by this is you miss the incremental strides and the 1% of improvement that you're making every day. And you look at each day as a fresh day, which is good, but you're not looking at what you've done the last 30 days, the last 60 days, the last 90 days, even where you were a year ago. I guarantee it's not in the same place. You're not in the same place that you used to be. So, looking at this, start celebrating the 1% improvement. Start celebrating the things that are actually changing for you 1% every day. Did you get up a little bit earlier in the morning? Did you have a different type of breakfast? Did you start your morning with prayer versus social media? These are things that actually make a difference, and doing them over a long haul actually supports consistent personal transformation. So you can track your habits over the next 30 days. Track your sleep. I want you to track what your workouts are. I want you to track also how you are feeling. What's going on in your mind? What's going on in your emotions? I've explained on my channel before to use a feelings wheel so that you can understand, are you feeling angry? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling frustrated and anxious? And there's so many different ways to describe your emotions, but until you can identify what those emotions are, it's going to be really hard to track what are the things that are causing those emotions and then how to shift yourself into a different positive frame, into peace, into rest, and contentment, into confidence. Okay. If you want, I have a free habit tracker that's available to you, and I can put that in. I can give that to you. So let me know in the comments if it's something that you want. It's a 30-day, 30, 60, 90-day habit tracker, already done, free. Just let me know if you want it and I can send that to you. The second mistake that you're making, you've been copying the world's version of change. You've been copying the world's version of change. What does this mean? You've built your identity on what you can control, your money, your plan, your goals, your image. Everything is about you and what other people have decided is the most accurate or well way in order to be. I had a vision board and I placed, I love doing vision boards, still believe in them, but I had a vision board and I placed a copy of that vision board on my, I placed a copy of that vision board on my phone. And recently I just decided that it was just so overwhelming and I was not able to actually, um, I was not able, sorry, my hair is growing back after my pixie. Needs a little support. But I decided that my it was overwhelming, and I continued though I wanted to see all of my goals, it was becoming overwhelming, and it caused me actually a lot of anxiousness on top of the apps on my vision board or my phone. So what I did was I kept it simple. I removed the vision board. I decided that, okay, God, you're going to show me what it is that I need to be doing. Yes, these are still things that I want, but show me what order I need to put these things in. Show me where I need to focus my attention. So it's also like having a phone where you have an updating operating system, a new wallpaper, but you haven't updated the operating system. You're working on old code, yet you have a new vision. It doesn't work. You need to update and upgrade your habits and see your habits in order for it to make sense with the phone and with the vision that you're actually seeking. I have to use scripture. So Romans 12:2 says, "Do not copy the customs and the behaviors of this world." What that literally means broken down is do not copy. Copy means to reproduce. The behaviors are things that one does, and especially towards others and way they behave, and especially in a certain stimulus or a certain situation. A pattern is a widely accepted behavior. And it says, do not copy the behaviors and the customs of this world. The world is any type of society or institution. So when you think about this, what is it that the world typically does? What is it that the world, you would see them react? They're in fear about their money, not having more days than they do income. They are exhausting themselves, working themselves. And maybe you've done this as well, where you're working yourself to the bone and not seeing the results of your labor, but you're burnt out. You are thinking that sometimes it's about you, may not apologize. You're trying to go after what you might want to do as opposed to serving others. These are customs and ways of behavior of the world. This is why it's very challenging to maintain a sustainable personal transformation because you are dependent on your own strength and the world tells you to keep going in this form or fashion, but the reality is you actually need God in this. So instead of copying the world and what they do, co-labor with God instead. Let your identity be shaped in who he says you are. So in the second part of that scripture, it says, let God transform you into a new person by changing the way that you think. Let is literally a way of, it means to not prevent, it means for you to allow. So let God, who is our creator, for me, I believe he goes from everlasting to everlasting. He is Lord of Lords, he is King of Kings, and he literally coded his DNA inside of you. Let that spirit let that spirit transform. And transform means to thoroughly change, it means to have a drastically different appearance. Let God transform you into a new. New means it has existed, but it's never been seen, felt, or imagined or experienced before. Let God transform you into a new person by changing. Changing means up leveling the way that you think. And the thinking is your opinions, your beliefs. I'm literally looking at, I've gone through each word and I've looked at the definition of the word to give me exactly what it means because it gives a new, different meaning. This is deconstructing scripture essentially. And in deconstructing the scripture, you hear what I'm saying. Let God, who is above you, who created you, transform you, make you a drastically different by changing, transform you into a new person. So again, you've existed before, but you've never been seen. You've never been felt in this way. I want people when I walk into the room to feel a potent presence. And I want them to feel the energy of God, not necessarily me, but the energy of God, the energy of peace, the energy of calm, the energy of grace when I walk in, because I've given it all to God. What type of presence do you want when you walk in the room? What do you want people to feel when they're in working with you? What do you want your partner to experience when they are in relationship with you? What do you want your children to feel and experience when they're in relationship with you? Let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. And you think through the world's lens. You do not think and allow God to transform you into his lens, which is higher. And it doesn't mean higher spiritually, like in the heavens. And yes, that is true. But what I mean is higher in that, for example, I had a situation where I was going to thinking about the bills, thinking about the business, thinking about all of the things that was going on and how I can get it done. Right. Even the those who pray and do all of that stuff, you have to constantly do this each day. So even I was like, how am I going to get all of this done? And God transformed my mind by helping me not think. He was like, you thinking too low. Fatima, you're thinking too low. You're thinking it from it from a tactical perspective, not a strategic perspective. And instead, he allowed me to see not ask the question, how am I going to pay this bill? But instead, how can I find a way to write off these expenses through my business as a tax deduction? That's a strategy of the wealth. That's a strategy of a wealthy person. So he changes your mind. He up levels what you're thinking from a tactical level in a point A to point B. And he up levels it to where you're thinking higher at a strategic level. So it works for you longer and it sustains you better. The third mistake that you're making is letting God upgrade your mindset. You handle the faith, he will handle the outcome. Similar to what we already shared, you're trying to control everything, your timing, the results, the validation, the outcomes, and it's exhausting. Have you been there? I know I have. You think surrender means working more, it means a weakness or loss of control, but true surrender really is giving everything over to God who never fails. So think of God's character anytime that you get anxious. Think of God's character anytime you get anxious. Level up your mindset by thinking higher. I'm doing a 5-day stress relief challenge in a few weeks. And literally, I am so excited. It is for high achievers who are secretly facing self doubt, burnout, and guilt. And I am going to show and teach you how I go from overwhelm to sustainable peace to being able recently within the last year been able to uplevel my job, 4 job titles. So I'm telling you and showing you the spiritual secrets that I have used that have helped me to have practical real life results in my life. So in conclusion, if you want that, I'll put the link in the description. And in conclusion, when you stop copying the world and give it to God and renewing your mind God's way, you'll start noticing peace. You'll start noticing practicality. The things that you once used to struggle through and struggle over no longer become as hard. In fact, it won't be hard at all. You'll have joyful discipline. You'll have peace when you move, and you'll be able to move with precision in the things that you're going after. Recap the lessons. Start celebrating 1% progress. God works in layers, not in leaps. If you want that worksheet, that workbook for tracking your data, let me know. It's a free spreadsheet that I have for you. And instead of copying the world, co labor with God. Let Him renew your mind. And think of God's character when you feel anxious. He is perfect, He is faithful, and He is incapable of failure. I hope this has been helpful for you. My name is Fatima. I'm a self acceptance coach. You'll find all things here for high achievers, especially high achieving women, to help you restore peace, ease, and purpose. And this is your warm place to remember who you are. Like, subscribe, share, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this video and if there's anything else I can do to serve you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful day. Bye.